Now it was now 2 days before Passover and the festival of unleavened bread. The leading priests and the teachers of religious law were still looking for an opportunity to capture Jesus secretly and kill him. But not during the Passover celebration. They all agreed, or the people might riot. Meanwhile, Jesus was in Bethany at the home of Simon, a man who had previously had leprosy. Now, while he was eating, a woman came in with a beautiful alabaster jar filled with expensive perfume made of nard, and she broke open the jar and poured the perfume over his head. Some of those at the table were indignant. Why waste such an expensive perfume? They asked. It could have been sold for a year's worth of wages and the money, given to the poor. So they scolded her harshly. But Jesus said to them, "Leave her alone. Why criticize her for doing such a beautiful thing to me? You will always have the poor among you, and you can help them whenever you want to. But you don't always have me. This woman has done all that she could and has anointed my body for burial ahead of time. And I tell you the truth, wherever this good news is preached all over the world, this woman's deed will be remembered and discussed." And immediately, Judas, who was one of Jesus' disciples, named Iscariot, went out to arrange with the religious leader how to betray Jesus to them. They were delighted when they heard why he had come, so they promised to give him some money so he might betray Jesus to them. Now, on the day of preparation, the day before the Passover celebration, Jesus' disciples came to him and asked, "Teacher, where shall we prepare the Passover meal for you?" And Jesus sent them into town with this instruction: "As you enter Jerusalem, you will find a man carrying a pitcher of water. Follow him. At the house he enters, say to the owner, 'The teacher asked, where is the guest room, so we may prepare the Passover meal for him?' And he will take you upstairs and show you a guest room that is already set up." So the two disciples went into town, and they found everything just as Jesus had told them. And they prepared the Passover meal there. In the evening, Jesus arrived with his 12 apostles, and as they sat down to eat, he said to them, "I have been looking forward to eat this Passover meal with you before my suffering begins. For I tell you, I will not eat bread again until I enter into my glory." Then Jesus took bread. He blessed it, giving thanks to God for it. Then he broke it and gave it to his disciples and said, "Take, eat. This is my body, which is broken for you. Do this each time that you do to remember me and keep my death." And after supper, Jesus took another cup of wine, and he gave thanks to God for it. And he blessed it and said to them, "Take, drink. This is my blood that established a new covenant between God and his people. It is poured out for many so that sins might be forgiven. Then they sang a hymn and went to the Mount of Olives. On the way, Jesus said to them, I tell you the truth, all of you will desert me. For the scriptures say God will strike the sheep and the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered. But after I'm raised from the dead, I will go ahead of you to Galilee, and you will meet me there. Peter protested and said, Lord, even if everybody else deserts you, I will never desert you. And all the others vowed the same. And Jesus said to him, I tell you, Simon, this very night, before the rooster crowed twice, you will deny 3 times that you even know me. Peter refused emphatically and said, even if I have to die, Lord, I will never deny you. Amen. I'd like to take this last few moments just to quickly reflect upon the response of Peter. Simon Peter, like you and I, like all of us, determined, want to, desire to please the Lord at all cost. And because we desire to and want to please the Lord at all cost, we seek to prove it, not in a negative sense, but we just desire to say, Lord, I'll go all in. Count me in. And this is commendable. I mean, what other ways would you express your passion and determination if you're not all in? However, we learn something from Peter that is absolutely unique. Notice, when Jesus is arrested, all the other disciples ran away, just as Jesus predicted. But Simon Peter, based on his own confession, could not run away and mounted courage to prove that he has said he will never desert Jesus. So he pushed all the way in. He pushed right into the courtyard. And while in the courtyard, the young girl, relative of the man whose right ear Peter cut off in the garden, said, didn't I see you out there with Jesus of Nazareth? And that freaked him out. Peter became afraid for his life. He became afraid that he could be the one in the reality of Jesus before the high council at that time. And at this point, Peter was compelled to retrieve his words. He was compelled to retrieve his commitment. He was compelled to safeguard his own self and his life. But notice that Jesus never expected Peter to commit and lay down his life, as it were, on his behalf. In Christendom today, we sometimes practice like Peter, and sometimes, obviously, myself practice like Peter to prove to the Lord. But we can learn from Peter. Maybe we don't have to prove to the Lord. Maybe we are trying to prove to ourselves. Maybe we are trying to prove to our society that we are really committed. We are all in, even when it's going against the odds. Here's my point.